Hello and welcome to Health Talk here on AETV Live. I am Ogaga Ekama and I'm your host. Health Talk is your number one health program where we get to discuss and educate you on matters that concern you and your health. Today, as usual and as always, I've got a medical personnel, a mental health physician from the Federal Medical Center, Asaba, no other than Dr. Anthony Enebe. Hello, Doc.
Thank you very much, Ugaga. It's my pleasure being here with you.
Welcome.
Okay.
Okay, so today I want us to talk on a very important topic that has plagued people over the years across the world, in Africa, and the likes. But it's one of the things, maybe in the Western world, you could say they pay attention to it, but it's just of recent that Africa and countries in Africa, specifically in Nigeria, began to pay attention, at least from my angle as a layman. But maybe you, as a medical personnel, you guys have patients that turn up for this. And what are we talking about? Mental health. Mental health. So let me start by asking you what mental health is.
Okay, thank you very much, Ugaga. Yes, mental health as it is an area of medicine that is I'm very passionate about. And the more you talk about mental health and its corresponding complications, you, at the end of the day, reduce the stigma which is associated with mental health and mental illness, as it were. Because a lot of people believe that when you talk about mental health, you're talking about some spiritual jargon or spiritual infiltration. Nobody wants to see it as a medical problem. Anyway, defining mental health is almost the same thing as saying, what is your physical health? Physical health is the state of your body, but mental health deals with the state of your mind, your feelings, and your emotions. Okay? That is how you look at it, more or less about the way you feel internally, the way you feel and reason a lot of things. That is what mental health is about, your state, exactly.
Okay. State of your, has to do with the state of your mind, feelings, and emotions. Now, while you were talking about mental health, you brought in mental illness. Is there a difference between mental health and mental illness?
Yes, mental health is the state of your mind, how you feel, and your emotions. But when you talk about the illness, as it were, is a group of diagnosable conditions. Okay? When I mean diagnosable, it means that you make a diagnosis for you to call it an illness. We are looking at conditions that can affect you for a very long time and either make you not to be productive now or in the future. It's really about also the way you feel, your emotions, and also what you think about and the conditions thereon. So we're looking at it is now a diagnosable. They now have specific names for each and every one of them. As far as it affects the way as far as it affects you from performing optimally for some period of time, it is now called a mental illness. So that's the difference.
So will you say mental illnesses now affect mental health?
Yes. The way I'll put it is that it's not like mental illnesses will affect mental health. Anything can affect your mental health. Your physical state can positively or negatively affect your mental health. Your conditions, your environmental conditions, your family, the way where you live can affect your mental health. So it's actually a vice versa thing.
Okay. So now let me extend it a little further. Now, so where's the thin line between mental health, mental illness, and mental disorder?
Okay. The thin line there is the mental health, it's your state of mind. And when we mean state of mind is when you are happy, something happens, you are happy. That is your state at that point in time. Something happens, you are sad. That's your state of mind at that point in time. But when something happens and then you're no longer able to function at the office for a period of time, that's now an illness. When it now wants to become a disorder, you are looking at it's no longer affecting just your work, it's affecting your relationship with your family, it's affecting your productivity, relationship also with your friends. So then it now becomes what we call a disorder.
Okay, so now since we are majoring on mental health, so what are the risk factors for mental health conditions?
Okay, looking at it, the risk factors, there are quite a number of risk factors which have been elucidated over time from researches, and studies done all over the world, globally. And some of them, I will just list them briefly. Some of the risk factors include traumatic child events, probably a child that has gone through some stressful event growing up. It could include a dysfunctional family, parental stress. Those kind of events which a child can face later in life can predispose him or her to a mental illness. Generally, the use of hard drugs is almost like a pandemic worldwide. That is one of the biggest risk factors we have right now. Then we also want to look at the fact that some mothers, during their pregnancy, in utero, must have used some medications. Those things also affect, children and could predispose them eventually to having a mental illness later in life. Also, apart from ordinary medications, mothers who also use some form of hard drugs while pregnant can affect the children.
So let me get something. This the mother's medication. Are you saying that prescribed medication can actually affect the child's?
No. Yes.
Because you differentiated between medication and now the mother's taking hard drugs. So
there's a difference. There are some prescribed medications which have no effect, but there are also medications that you get across the counter, which you ought not to take at certain points during the pregnancy.
Not that they are hard drugs in themselves.
No. So that is why we always advocate that when you are pregnant, a mother must always go to the hospital, and then the gynecologist will see and write medications which will help that child while in utero. Because when a child is born, the first 3 months is still the period of formation, especially of the central nervous system, which is almost like the brain. So at that time, there are medications that are not to be used, or which a lot of people don't know. You go to herbalist home, you go to some form of maternities that are not recognized, and you take those medications. It could affect those children later in life. So, like I said, medications mothers use of some form of hard drugs, substance, because a lot of women these days, they smoke, they say it helps them to sleep. So those are some hard drugs we could use, which could affect the child in utero. Going further, some stressful environment. For example, when you've gone through some form of what we call life events, people who have gone through issues like flooding, threats of Boko Haram, famine, those things could affect those events later in life. If children and adults are not well protected, it could affect them in life. So those are still issues that deal with risk factors that I have listed. There are still so many others. There are also some chronic conditions which individuals face that can predispose them to developing mental illness later in life. The conditions are quite numerous: chronic pain, diabetes, hypertension. So all these chronic illnesses are place one at a risk of developing mental illness probably later in life.